Is VP people.
We are your hosts, Taylor and
Enrico.
This is Unfiltered Conversations
Global.
where we have the conversations that you want to have.
But you don't.
We have the conversations that you should have.
But you don't.
And the conversations that you overall just avoid. So jump in with us today for this episode of
Unfiltered Conversations Global.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Conversation Global. This is your co-host, Eric, and
VP people. This is Taylor, the other co-host. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully things are well for you. We wanted to point out something to you that we have these wonderful pink flowers today. You see them. I hope you've admired them even before we started talking because they are quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Just like part of the topic we're talking about today, and that is...
how to love her, yet we are of different genders. You know, I'm a man. She's a woman. They've got different anatomy. How do you know you love her, and how do you love her?
How do you treat her? Now, the interesting thing is that we'll be providing one and maybe some insight into the other perspective today, and maybe at a later date, we will provide another perspective, whether we bring some other people on. That's what we're looking to do next season. A lot of is we're looking to expand the number of people in the conversation, bring in different perspective, bring in some arguments, bring in some frustration, some testimony, some really good story, whatever. That's what we're hoping to be able to do in the future. So be looking for us next season where we start to expand who is involved in the conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about how do you love a woman. This was suggested to us by one of our associates, and I think Eric really likes these kind of topics. So I'm going to let
When a
him
man loves a woman, I can
Okay.
sing.
Yes, he's got it. So kick us off, Eric. How does a man love a woman?
Wow. And, you know, like, women are different, are beautiful people and different people to us. Our emotions are different. I think so. You and your wife, your emotions are different. And, like, now we're talking about ladies. How do you know you love her, and how do you love her? Do you get to know the signs? Do you see the signs? Or how does it happen? As in, you've seen this woman, you want to make them fall in love with you, and you want to make yourself to love them. What do you do, Taylor? What do you really
Stop turning the question around on me. Dude, I just asked you like not even 2 minutes ago. Make me kick this thing off. Get out of here. I've been out of the game a whole lot longer than you have, but persisting falling in love with your wife and keeping that, it's kind of its own topic, but getting the game going, like recognizing love is there. How do you express your love? How do you show that you love to the other person that's of a different gender that values love in a different way? Like, that's a big question. Man, that's a long time ago. Goodness, that's like over 15 years ago, over 16 years ago that this was like the focus. This is old, we're old, and I'm coming to realize that more as my back has started hurting more often. Goodness gracious. Anyway, so I think for me, what I did is I spent time and gave attention, and not just like, it wasn't like perverted attention, like, hey, how you doing? Like, none of that. But it was, so I met my wife in college, and she will deny this and be like, oh, it wasn't like that. But legitimately, she went on dates with 7 other dudes while I was pursuing her.
Special man, you are.
Yeah, maybe the other guys just screwed it up real bad. I don't know. But, well, I mean, I would say that they did. But, man, enduring through that, listening to the dates, how it went, what you... that was crazy. So a big part for me was that time attention. And then, once it was like, okay, I'm going to look at you now, because there wasn't a lot to look at, still's not. So it's a lot of other things. So then the pursuit was like, this is not required in American culture. A lot of people will do it as it pertains to marriage. Some people will do it as it pertains to marriage very few will do it as pertains to like dating, but I talked to her parents, just said, hey, these are my intentions. Like, I want to, pursue your daughter in a way that could lead towards marriage. I want you guys' blessing and commitment, or not commitment, but your guys' understanding that that's the purpose of this. It's not just like willy-nilly, blah, blah, blah. And this is after I had, this is after a growth period on how dating and interacting went. Anyway, so that was a good conversation. And so she knew about that afterwards, and it was very real. And it was like, okay, this isn't like a joke. We're still going to have fun with this. We had lots of fun. We did fun things. But, I'd buy her flowers and take her on dates. And just overall, we spent a lot of time talking. And the funny part is, this is in like the throes of, I didn't realize it then, but like the last years of living in a college dorm room with your best friend. So this is the real last opportunity, that you don't even know at the time for you to be in a dorm room with like your best friend playing video games all the time, it's just dudes. Like in between games, he'd be like, all right, I need to go to the bathroom and I need to handle this other stuff. Maybe he's make some dinner. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go out and talk to my girl. And so I'd bounce. I'd go out and talk to my girlfriend at the time, or whatever you want to call it, because we did not call each other boyfriend, girlfriend. But the older I get, the more I'm like, it doesn't really matter. Like the understanding is still the same. So I'd spend that time talking, and then it's like, okay, well, it's time to go. I've got the world to conquer again, But she put up with that, and she even, in some points, engaged in having fun, playing video games. So. And then she stopped after we got married. She's like, I did what I needed to do. But I think that is important.
I'm also like, for our viewers' sake, I also want to, which I'll talk about still, but I also want to get, what did you know to do? Because your emotions, high emotions are different. What did you know to do? Buying a flower, is that a way? How do you read? Do you read her emotions? What happened in that journey of falling in love or knowing that?
Okay, so the initial...
she's of a different gender. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah,
like
she thinks differently.
The way you feel emotionally is different from how she feels emotionally. How do you get her to that place where now she also falls in love with you?
I think for the most part, you'll hear girls tell us this stuff. They don't, not directly, because for some reason we don't communicate directly, especially before you're married.
Yeah.
What they want. Like, what is the greatest way to make sure that a first date goes terribly?
Yeah.
Don't talk about her.
Yes.
Just focus on yourself. Don't ask questions. What do you like to do for fun? What are your greatest fears? What do you want to be when you grow up? Because you're young.
That sounds
like how many kids? Like, none of that. You just talk about, oh yeah, I was doing this yesterday, and there was this one. Like,
that sounds like
guess what? You
interview.
won't have another one of a date with that girl.
No, you won't.
So I think a huge part of that initial interaction is just reciprocal exchange. I want to learn about you. You want to learn about me. If I find a bunch of red flags in learning about you, then I'm going to stop. And if you find a bunch of red flags learning about me, then you're going to stop, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I remember in pursuing my wife, we did like a group date, right? And there's a big group of us going out on this date. And me and my buddies weren't stupid. We literally got the prettiest girls on campus. Ooh. And we're like, we're going to take you guys to this commencement or whatever, like it's the beginning of the year event, where they get together and talk about the year and what the prayers are, and they pray over you, all that stuff. And then we went out to Applebee's afterwards, high class Applebee's for a bunch of broke college students, which is perfect. Half price appetizers after 9. And so we sat and we're talking, and there is this super pretty girl where it's like, hey, what's up? How you doing kind of girl, where it's like, hey. And I was like, yep, like I'm locked in here, right?
No chance.
No, it's not no chance. It was about 5 minutes of conversation. It's like, we would murder each other. Like, I can't, like this would not go well. Like, this is not good. Like, I'm not interested. Like, it was quick. And so I was just like, I was kind of like, oh, that's okay, but whatever. Like, there's a lot of pretty girls here that are, so even from a man's perspective, I started off with what appeals to me, right? Women, it's different.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of the idea out right now that girls are like, yeah, look at those abs, look at that thigh. Like, oh man, that guy's a hunk. Like, but really, that is, I think it's been a long road tricking women into thinking that is important to them because they don't have the same eyes we do.
Yeah.
A really handsome guy can walk in the room, and obviously we are talking in generalities.
Yeah.
There are going to be women that are the exception to this, that it's like, no. I notice immediately that's high priority for me. That's a big deal. Like, I get it. But in general, their eyes, their chemistry is not wired the same.
That's true.
They do not respond internally, externally the same way that we do when we see that beauty.
Yeah.
And so I was behaving in that way that I'm designed to be attracted to this beauty. And then as I took to me, what was even important to me, the next step, that it wasn't just you're pretty, let's get married, or you're pretty, let's go make out, or whatever it is. Like, no, the next step is you're pretty, who are you? And it's like, oh yeah, that's not going to work. Like, that was a hard no. And one that I never wavered on. I wasn't ever later like, well, maybe it would, Like, it was quickly observable and understood that it's like, that path is not good or going to work. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm intimidated by the beauty. Negative. Our personalities, who she was not for me. And so I progressed from that initial, as men operate, like that beauty, that attraction, to who are you? And that's when the shutdown came. But it was interesting in that same stage, we're all at this table. This group of us are all at this table. And that's when my wife started to shine even brighter, because she was beautiful still. I wasn't attracted to her as intensely as this other person, but it's not all about that initial moment. You have the rest of your life. That initial moment won't last. So what comes after that? It's who you're with. That's when she blew it. She just blew it out of just knocked it out of the park. She didn't blow it. She knocked it out of the park. Blowing it means like you screwed it up, right? No, she knocked it out of the park and did fantastic and really, really impressed me a lot. Like, I don't think I've ever had that, like, whoa, what's up? Like, dang, girl. Like, yeah.
Ooh, this is
immediately.
This is it.
And so I was like, okay. So then I did some stuff, like back then we still had flip phones and cameras were still a big deal. We're talking 1.3 megapixels here, okay? That was serious. No. Back then, this is legit. This is top end. I might have had like a 2.7 because I had this Voyager. It was like a flip phone, right?
Yeah.
No, Voyager was later. It flipped open and it had a keyboard. Anyway.
Yeah, and different flip
literally
like
had a
this.
full keyboard on it, physical. Click, 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 click. Anyway, and so we switched memory cards to look at each other's pictures, and I feigned like I forgot, and we left. And so then that like guaranteed another interaction. Like, oh hey, I have your card still. So and so that just led to a lot of stuff. And there was one point where it was insecurity that took over, and I was just like, this isn't going to work out, and she like laughed at me at that time. She'll even tell you that story. She's like, yeah, you like kind of tried to break up with me, and I just laughed at you because I was like, this is dumb. Like, let's have a real reason for this. So it was just again, you're not who you are always, like you waver in your insecurities and stuff. So that persisted on from that point. So the initial, like how you come to interact or whatever, for me, it was, and we laugh about it now, but a lot of people would not be able to handle that story. My wife laughs at it each time. She won, she got me and I won. I got her. But we're able to like look at that and laugh that it's like, yeah, you were going for my hot roommate and you got me. But it's not a second place thing because we have to take people for the whole package, you know?
True.
And so very much, I think for guys is important that it's like you have this person who cares about themselves is the whole process. And it's not even like they're well dressed or no, it's like it's apparent when you see a woman, are you caring for yourself? You know, and that was important, and that like caught your eye. That wow, she's pretty and she's carrying herself well, and then it's like, how do you engage in that conversation, right? Like that to a lot of guys, like that's the barrier.
Yeah.
Like pretty girl at church or pretty girl in small group. How do I engage? And man, I'll tell you what, like my answers now are not at all the same as they were 15 years ago. Like if something tragic happened to my wife or to me, like she could be able to answer this similarly. That initial conversation is very easy. And I think in reality it is for young people as well.
Yeah.
But they don't believe it is, so then they don't behave like it is. Just going up to this girl and saying, you know, like literally we're sitting in this room with all these people, right? Like everybody's talking around. And your beauty stands out beyond anything. Like it's hard to focus. And so I was just wondering, like, can I take you out sometime and get to know a deeper level of beauty? Bam. That's an opener. Or like, hey, you know, those type of, like that conversation, like being open and honest, like what? Okay, this guy thinks that I'm beautiful and wants to get to know me. Yeah. She knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
There's not like, hey, you want to get a coffee sometime? She's like, is this guy trying to sell me on some products he has for sale? Is multi-level marketing? Does he think I'm pretty? Like, no. I'm going to tell you straight out the gate that I think you're beautiful and let you know straight out the gate that there's intent in this conversation. I probably won't have to use this newfound confidence, you know, or new understanding, which is great. Like I don't ever want to have to jump back into that realm, but to encourage those guys who don't know.
Experience now.
Yeah, exactly. But those guys who don't know, it's like, no. Yeah. This is actually very easy, and it's this insecurity, or you don't have to be this like some total jock jerk guy who's like arrogant and overconfident. No, you can just be like, hey. Like, and even say it in the conversation, like, hey, like you are really pretty, and it's mega uncomfortable for me to even talk to you right now. And I was wondering if we could maybe work on that comfort a little bit. Like maybe I can get to know you a bit better. You know, like,
it will be easy now.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I just would know about how to go about it much easier with the reality that exists, and that is that we're both here. We're both of similar minds, where depending on where you meet this person, you know, if people are meeting people in the bar, it's like you got a whole different set of conversations you got to have.
And perspective as well.
But if you're meeting in a place where it's like you have similar like mind, it's like jump in. Like what if she rejects me? It's okay. Then she rejects you. And maybe you try again, not in an offensive way or a stalkerish type way. Be like, hey, you know, like I'm still here. And you're still pretty, and I still want to take you out. You said no last time. Have you changed your mind? You know,
can we do it again?
Yeah, no. There's no again. It hasn't happened yet because she said no, and it's like I would love to not repeat the rejection. You know, and then if she rejects you again, it's like it gets easier because it's like, wow, you know what? I went home last time, and I still lived.
Yes,
I'm not dead, and people aren't laughing at me when I'm walking down the road. They're not pointing like, you got rejected. Like, that's not it.
It's done.
And this, like, all of this is the beginnings of possibility of love. Because that initial, like, when you saw your wife, for men in particular, that's a big moment.
Yeah, it is. Very big.
I saw this beauty, this particular beauty, even the way that when you talk to her parents, I saw a flower inside your compound. I would like to come in.
Unpluck it.
Yes, like it's there is that initial attraction, but how do you keep a flower? It'll die right away if you don't take care of it.
Yeah.
So there's a whole different set of stuff that comes later, but that initial like, oh man,
this is it.
Yeah, and men and women many times won't admit it, but it's like very similar process happens after that, where it's like, no, yeah, you're pretty and all. Who are you?
Yes.
You know, she's like talking about, I murdered 3 people. It's like that relationship's done. Exactly.
I'm not living with a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, you want to join this cult where we don't eat anymore? Like, hey, I'm done, you know? And so it's like we both jump into this, whatever that initial thing is, the way you're joking and interacting with other people, like she might have really liked that. But how are you going to joke and interact with me if I'm mad? Or how are you going to handle this little bit of information I give you? Do you tell other people? Do you laugh at me? All of that, like our road after the initial interaction is very similar, I think. and that we're both looking to get to know each other. Now, this is also where it diverges, that for what reason? She wants to know, can he love me and care for me and protect me the way that I feel I need to be loved, cared, and protected and respected? But for a man, it's much more reorganizing of those things. You want her to love and care for you. You want her to protect you, not necessarily like physically but definitely not demean you and protect your your secrets that you tell her. But then one of our highest priorities as men is she going to respect me? Like, I'm going to be showing this person the most vulnerable parts of my life, whether it's, you know, guys might immediately think like, oh, she's going to see me naked. Or it's going to be like, no, I'm going to tell her like what things scare me. And, you know, it's kind of like that Samson and Delilah information. He gives her this information, and each time she totally like butchers it. She had to be like, super pretty or manipulative or something for this guy to keep going back and making the same, whatever. Anyway, so this stuff really matters. And for what reason, I think deviates. You know, Paul talks about how men, you are to love your wives as Christ loved the church. That's hard. And for a guy to say, oh, you know, she serves me and is, you know, does all these things. It's like, yeah, put that into the example of Christ and you're going to have a real different picture about how that plays out. And because he gave himself up for her, gave himself up for the church. So what do you give up in your life for your wife? Well, I give up other women. Isn't that enough? It's like, that's kind of understood even in the analogy with Christ and the church. He didn't come and establish the church and a mosque and a temple. Like, no. He came and established the church, one bride. That's understood. Now, how did he give himself up for her? That then becomes a struggle because and I don't think there's a recipe on that side of stuff, but the men are to love their wife like that. And that can be really hard because she wants to feel that affection, that vulnerability, that intimacy, that connection. And there will be some ladies watching. They're like, how are you not having a lady on here talking about this? It's like, one, experience is not the only way to knowledge. Let's combat that idea right now. 2, we do have insights on this from being married. 3, we'll have women on in future episodes. So this is just a different kind of conversation, okay? And the women in the situation, it's like, is this a man that I can respect? And the man is looking for a woman to respect him. And on the women's perspective, it's like, do I respect this man? Does he work hard? Does he have integrity? Does he love God? Like, these are things that's like, if you've got those locked in,
the attraction comes there.
It's like, yes, I can honor and I can respect this man through difficult and good times and all of that. But the man, it's like, so you have these competing things, seemingly competing things, that one is looking for love, one is looking for respect. However, they are both looking for love and both looking for respect. It's the one that, I think those attributes, one of them speaks louder to the other than the other does to the other. Hopefully you tracked that one. Love speaks louder to women, even though that men still want to receive love. And respect speaks louder to men, even though they want to receive love. Did I say that right? Women, the love speaks louder to them than respect, even though they want respect. And men, the respect speaks louder than the love, even though they want love. Because man, and there's tough times. There's tough times in balancing that and figuring that out and realizing where that boundary is. Like, oh man, I have not valued my wife long enough. I have not got her flowers and let her know that, hey, you're beautiful. I want you surrounded with as many beautiful things as possible.
Now, the journey of now keeping her also to love you.
Yeah, I think that's this is a whole different thing of how do you stay in love? And not the feeling like, how do you keep that commitment to one another to love, honor, cherish in the forefront of your marriage at all times, so that when difficult times come or beautiful times come, which can carry beautiful men to your wife or beautiful women to your husband, like when those times come, that commitment is still there. That's a whole podcast on itself. So the initial parts of this, I think they look towards that, like in the long term, healthy relationships look in the long term towards that, like, is this somebody that I can choose to love even if they are no longer beautiful? If this person And I think for a man, that would be hard no matter what. Like something happens, burned, can't even recognize her, family doesn't even recognize her. She's still your wife. You still love her, right?
True.
Or the woman's equivalent, like he can't do anything. He gets paralyzed and can't provide and can't protect. And so now all this falls on you. Oh man, there's an awesome music video. Andra Day.
I do not know that.
Andra Day. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna say it because I think it articulates what that looks like for a woman.
Just sing it.
No. Like I'll look it up because you need to talk. I've been talking for a long time. So like, what about you? What do you think? How does that progression go for that initial like love? How do I then move towards caring for this other person initially? Like those initial stages. How do I love her? How do I know to love her?
You've literally talked about everything, but like in the same line of thought, like the progression that you're talking about. First of all, you meet this person. You meet your wife, like for me, when I was meeting my wife, I knew this is a beautiful lady. I am attracted to this person visually. I see her, I see the attraction, and I'm like, whoa, she's very beautiful. Now, the next stage is more like, also on her part, like, is like, okay, I've seen you. And I remember telling her, I'm attracted to you, you're beautiful, you've got really amazing eyes. And yeah, she was blushing. And that was it. And then the next stage was...
what's up?
The next stage was like...
that your opening line? Was that your like...
That was my opening line. I was like...
Hey, look at this guy. He was rolling in with the confidence that I only got after many years of marriage. Well done, Eric.
I was like, yeah, you are. And I would really like to go out on a date with you. Would you like that? And she said yes.
Holla. Even though he's at the same time has a couple other ladies he's gone on a date with.
Yeah. Because like she's beautiful. I know probably the other 10 men chasing probably after her. But like she said yes.
Yes.
At that particular time. And I was like, okay. Now getting to this part, because it's like she knows you for the first time and you're getting to know her for the first time. How are you getting her to fall in love with you, or how are you making yourself get in love with her? Does it make sense? So I take her to a nice place for tea, and we talk, and we realize we are connecting. We are connecting in a number of things, and I think for her, me being born again was a tick.
It's the biggest one at the top of the list.
Yeah. So that really was an attraction, and she was also attracted to me because, like, on the outside. Now,
because the size of your biceps.
Yeah.
You work out, dude. Got this nice shirt on, looking good, right?
She really needed to get to know the inside. Yeah. And now the inside is when now you're sitting down, you're talking, you're getting to know. Okay, are you a night worker? Are you just a normal person? So that like, okay, I'm not ready to get involved with a prostitute. Like, if you're a night worker, then no.
She's trying to figure this out about you.
What? Yes, she was figuring this about me as well, because like we are interacting now. It's those hard questions that like you don't ask them directly.
Yeah, like, are you a prostitute?
Yeah, you don't ask them directly, but you see, like you get to talk about this thing, like as you're eating, as you're drinking, and it becomes more intimate when you call someone to sit down on a meal. It becomes easy for them to express themselves, and then
especially women.
Yeah, and as you continue getting to know them, they open up. Like in those. Now the next one, we went to an open space.
I just thought of something. Can I interrupt you?
Interrupt me.
Not because what I have to say is better, but it's interesting to think about it in this context.
Yeah.
The entire pursuit of women is based on the woman's terms.
Yes.
Meaning,
yes.
How are you interacting with her?
Yeah.
You're sitting across the table from her.
Yeah.
Looking face to face.
Yeah.
being vulnerable. Many times being vulnerable. Generally, if that doesn't come, then the dates don't continue.
Yeah.
You're not working on a project. You're not building a house. You're not working on your car. You're not doing X, Y, Z shoulder to shoulder like a man would many times prefer,
Yeah.
or feel more natural in sharing in. That was just interesting. That it's like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'll
It's-
sit across from you and do this on your term.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And it is more you just setting. It's you. They already know what they want. Is like you just now getting into that space of what they want. If you're what they want, they just need to iron out on some small things. Because like there's a lady that I talked to, and I was like, we cannot even go past the first date because you're beautiful, but I don't think we can live together.
Yes, we had similar experiences.
Yeah, I don't think
this ain't gonna
and I'm
work.
like, okay, and then you see like you want to know what you're going to live with for the rest of your life, because that's why you're dating. You're dating for that purpose, and you're dating to get someone that is you're going to be open to, the way you say, vulnerable. You're going to share everything. You become naked to them, but like you've made them now fall in love. Now this was the interesting bit about my lady. I wanted to know what she likes so that I can, you want to impress this lady with everything. You want to impress her with flowers, with chocolate, with clothes. You just want to do these things so that
supporting her in the things that she loves.
yeah, she loves.
Yeah.
So that she gets extremely attracted to you, that the only thing that she sees, she's breathing you. She's just breathing. Like for my lady, it is Eric.
Is that a saying? That's
No.
that she's breathing you.
I've just created that.
Okay.
It's just like I'm getting you can use
We're
that.
making memes right now.
Let someone breathe you. So I remember this first time when I was still on the second date, was the third date. I tried buying flowers for my lady because I know every woman loves flowers. Yeah, and I tried buying flowers for her, and okay, I gave her the flowers. Okay, I gave her the flowers, and she looked at it and she was like, "Oh, thank you." That was me still learning her and trying to get her even fall in love with me more. And for me, how I get to learn someone, sometimes when I'm getting to know someone, sometimes I sit back, I look at their body language, their reaction, and get to know if something that I've done is accepted or it's not accepted. So
or if it's not as impactful as you had hoped it would be, like the flowers.
Yeah, like the flowers.
Okay, so she got them.
So I pretended that I was talking on the phone behind. Yeah, I was talking on the phone. I was not pretending. I was talking on the phone. So, but I looked at her. Like ladies, like there's a way they carry the flowers and they treat them like a precious thing. But like they were bent over. It was sweeping the entire streets of Nairobi. And I was like, those flowers were expensive. Oh my.
So you're learning in that moment. All right.
I was learning, and I was learning that's not kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I really still need to figure out what she likes.
There's a book called The 5 Love Languages.
Yes.
I don't know that there's any research showing how valid it is in being able to prolong the success of your marriage or not, but it's this type of thing where it's like, all right, gifts are not her thing.
Yeah, gift. Not all gifts. Flowers, literally.
Okay.
As in flowers, not her thing. I did chocolate next because I know all girls
Love chocolate. My wife literally, like up to years into our marriage, would have chocolate every day.
Yeah.
Like in high school, it started every day, chocolate.
Girls, and those that I've interacted with, they do love chocolate, and they'll tell you, bring me a chocolate. I buy her chocolate, and I still observe her. And the next time I visited her, that chocolate was still there. And I was like, okay.
Strike one, strike two. Buona, you're missing these penalty shots left and right. You're going to need to get some down if you want to win the game.
And I'm just thinking, what's wrong? Am I not? As in, these are the things that people love. These are the things that people do enjoy. Okay, and I was like, okay, what do I do? But like one thing that I can say about her, when we spent time together, she loved that more.
Yep.
So now I'm learning this gift, this common gift that I think she loves, she doesn't. And okay, I said like, okay, let me do this. Like her birthday is like she said yes to me on the 24th of February.
To date you.
Yeah, to date me.
Okay.
And her birthday is on the 27th. I wanted that to be slightly longer because, like this celebration of this dating period and then the celebration of her birthday. But that's out of the point. So
Hold on. You started dating on what day?
24th of February.
You missed out Valentine's Day. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that intentionally. Probably
Did you get chocolates for her on Valentine's Day? Was that you think that might have been the day you got them for her?
almost just before that.
Okay.
Yeah,
You were
I
figuring it
realized-
out.
Yeah, I was just figuring out
Crap.
because like
What do you do on Valentine's Day if not flowers and chocolate?
Yeah, it's because like, how do I make her fall in love with me? I'm trying this thing that I've already been wired to know. Like, these are things that will make a woman love you. These are things that a woman will appreciate you when you do them.
Yeah.
So, and I realized that was not working. Now, this last thing that I did was, okay, let me surprise her with a dress. And then I bought this nice dress for her. And this time, tick. She loved it.
Okay.
She appreciated it. And then I realized the kind of gifts she appreciates, she loves. Going out on like quality time for her is...
So this book, The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
One of them is gift giving.
Yes.
Or receiving.
Yeah.
One of them is quality time.
Yeah.
And one of them is physical touch. One of them is words of affirmation. So, like, people are tracking. There will be some people who have read this book that are tracking.
They're tracking
that
this.
are like, okay,
Yeah.
because even your buying of a dress,
Yeah.
you had to know a good amount about her to buy the right dress.
Yes.
Did you buy a super low cut one? Did you buy one that was flowers? Did you buy one that had high? Like how you buy the dress for your wife shows what you know or at least what you think about her. If you got a dress that was only this big, it's like, you think I'm a prostitute, don't you? You know? Or if you buy this one that's like up to the neck and all the way to the floor, it's like, what do you what are you saying about me in buying this dress? So that might even have played into the gift.
And for the dudes who are watching, for me, I did a clever thing. I did love taking my wife now to malls for just a walk in the malls.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see what she likes. And as in, every time you go there, there's something she'll say, oh, this is nice. Or those kind of things. That was like, it is almost like cheating to get to know her really fast.
Bro, you are a master. Because I bet she cares nothing about gifts.
Yeah.
I bet like if you're talking about this love language thing, she's 100% in this quality time thing, and you buying a dress that she observed and liked is only a highlight of the time you spent together, and that it was of this quality because you're paying this good attention.
Yes.
Look at this guy, man. Woo!
I was paying attention. And what I can encourage our viewers is just paying attention to the small things that you're doing to your person. That will make that person know that you know them.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And the thing that makes them fall in love with you. Because
the way you say that, hold on a second.
They'll feel like you understand them.
Yeah, the way you say that, it almost sounds like you're forcing somebody. Like, I'm going to make her fall in love with me. Like, I'm going to. It's just been cracking me up. I'm sure there are some viewers who are like listening to and same thing with me. Kenyan viewers are like, "What is with this Mzungu? Hey,
the topic
crazy. You want a cheesy?
The topic was how to make her fall in love with you.
Yeah, very much so.
And those were the simple method that I was going and I was using, and quality time was good. Like, literally, quality time is her biggest thing. Quality time is the biggest thing. So that's what I did. And now having these other things, I'm I'm a Christian. I read my Bible. Those were extras. Those were the first thing, because like me coming
Wait,
to the
what do you
place where
mean?
we
They were extras or they were the first thing?
No, the first thing, because like she already knew, like we met in a church.
Okay.
So she knew this guy is in a church. But she when I came to church the first time, she thought like I was married because I was in the company of married. My married brother. So I was in that company, and she thought I was married, but like she was like, okay. Later on, when she saw me frequently coming to church
Alone.
unattached, no ring, nothing, and she knew that this person is not married, and I think that's why she said yes to my first date. And so it's all about for me to make her love you even more. Because like it's almost like a mutual thing. There are things that you'll be talking about that will make you even like them more. There's someone that you'll talk with on phone or have a date with, and you'll be like, no, this cannot go past here.
Yeah.
And you look amazing. Any person will die for you, but like I cannot die for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will only.
That's pretty ruthless, man.
Yeah.
Jesus said it, even anyone will die for a righteous man, but really, I won't die for you. Come on.
So that's how it is. Now, that's the process of getting her to fall in love. But do you stop there? You don't stop there. You have to continue. How do you continue?
I think we will kind of want to. We're talking about how do you, what is the topic of this episode?
Mm-hmm. How to make her fall in love with you.
Or how do you know how to love each other, right?
Know how to love each other.
And so I think this is we've talked a lot about the initial stages of a relationship.
Yeah.
And really those initial stages are focused on on figuring out that very thing. Mm-hmm. How long were you dating before you were officially exclusive?
That was like almost like 2-3 months.
Yeah, so for 2 or 3 months, you're figuring out the answer to this question.
Yes.
How do I show this person that I love them? Mm-hmm. Chocolates,
No.
She won't eat them. I'll end up eating them, which is actually okay sometimes. Flowers, nope. She's gonna drag them along the nasty streets of Nairobi.
I'll end up planting them in my garden.
Yeah, she's gonna sweep the ground with them, and then I'm seeing is the money.
Swept the entire Nairobi, and that flower was expensive.
Yeah, and so you're looking and you're saying, okay, but then you figured it out.
Yeah.
To a point. It's like, one, you knew that the quality time, and then you were still wanting to do this gift thing.
Extra thing.
Which they say love languages, there's two. There's how you receive it and how you give it. You might be a person, that's how you give love, is gifts, right? So you were doing this and then you figured out she really likes time. So instead of working really hard for those 3 hours to get the $1,500 to buy that bouquet of flowers or that dress, she would very much appreciate it if I just come and hang out with her for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And take her and walk with her, or talk with her, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like that quality time. And then you're answering that question. How do you know that really the answer to the question is they tell you.
Yeah.
This is how you love me. And you have to pay attention to know that, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of your marriage, it's remembering that and doing it. My wife she's a hopeless romantic. Like loves dates and the cheesy and all of that. And I fall into times in one, we're probably coming out of one right now where it's like I get focused on other things.
Yeah.
And that falls away for a time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you idiot, what are you trying to do? Like, you have got to focus on the things that matter.
Yeah.
And romancing your wife is very important. That is very important for my wife. For other people's wives, maybe just sitting and watching a TV show and chatting each night, that's good. Like, no, don't ever need to go on a date. Like, I just want your time and blah, blah, blah. That's not my wife. And so I have to remember that. And you know, that's why this distraction thing, whether you're talking about what we've talked on some other episodes with social media or video games or things that pull your attention away, they're pulling intentionally. This attention is being pulled away from the things that matter most, whether it's your kids, whether it's God, whether it's your wife. not in that order. But whatever it is that matters, there is somebody with an agenda to pull you away from that.
Yes.
You can say it's spiritual. If you want to be atheistic, you can say it's people wanting money.
Yeah.
If you're spending time with your wife sitting on the couch talking, that is time you are spending not surfing TikTok and seeing their ads and buying the products that are associated. So there's people with an agenda that want to pull XYZ, and it is our job and our responsibility to make sure that those agendas don't overcome the one that God has placed before us and the responsibility that God has placed before us.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I think, really, the fundamental answer to that question is they tell you, but I think you get you get a foundation from the Bible that a woman wants to be valued and wants to have the love of her husband. And the name of that song, and here's the thing.
Did you get the name?
I did.
Ah, okay.
You didn't even notice, right? It's Andra Day is her name, and the song is called Rise Up.
Rise Up.
And the lyrics, they're pretty good, right? The music video
Sing.
is amazing because it's
Rise
articulating this. It really is articulating love, like not to the fullest, but so well. Because what is a man's role? Protect your provider, right? He's got this duty that he feels the weight to have, right? And it shows this former Marine, I think he's a former Marine, paralyzed. He can't even talk.
Can't do all those things.
He can't even talk.
Oh my.
He has to message on a machine. I don't remember how he articulates on the machine. But he says that he wants to take her out that night. She has to do everything. She has to bathe him. She has to dress him. She has to get herself the flowers. She has to load him into the car. She has to take him to the restaurant. She has to feed him. She has to order for each other. And then she's got to reverse it all when she gets home.
Wow.
But she assumed all of the roles. And how many of us in our marriage can say, if that happens,
Yeah, that can
even before, and this is one of the things that my college professor challenged us on. If something like that happens, are you willing to stick with your commitment to this person, even though they've drastically changed who they are?
completely, because like they didn't have control of that.
And there's a subtle note here that I think theologically is really important. He loved her, and that was all he could offer. She did everything.
When a man loves
Oh, he's back to it. When a man. No, but that's all he could offer was his love.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything to show that love.
And I know there are not many people who can go through that.
But isn't it so close to what we do with God?
Yes.
What can we offer him? Can I give him a car? No, where did I get the car? Where did I get the money for the car? Where did I get the money at all? Where did I even get the time, the breath to do that? We can offer nothing but our love.
Sometimes
and he carries then with our expression of love and then cares for us in a way that at the beginning of the relationship we probably would not have been able to expect or understand at all.
Yeah.
But he cares for us beyond what we're able to do and what we might even understand initially. And so I watched that music video. And I didn't encourage you to watch it. We'll try to put it in the post, put it down below. And it's a really, really, really awesome articulation of love and sacrifice and what really the goal of what we're going at. Like if this happens to me, will my wife care for me?
Yeah.
If I am unable to even fulfill the roles that she expects at the beginning of our relation for me to fulfill, if I'm unable to do that, will she stick by me? And then that's also vice versa.
Yeah.
But I think that's why marriage is such a beautiful picture of our relationship with God, because it mirrors so much of it.
And I think when you don't have love in the first instant, that will not be able to be, you will not achieve that. And I love the way you're putting the perspective of God in all this. You're thinking that, imagine God sent his only son to die for us, and there's nothing that we give back. Like there's nothing we literally give back. That's ultimate love. And that's how, when we're talking, if you go and read in Corinthians, that chapter that talks about love your wife as Christ loved the church. Bro, the way Christ loved the church, I don't think even me seated here, I can have replicated that kind of love to my wife. And sometimes we are all out there demanding submission and respect, and yet we do not show a bit of love.
Yeah.
We do not have love. And when you bring God in this whole thing, it changes the entire, it shows us the desire of God on how to love. Because when God tells you, love your neighbor as you love yourself, you know, bro, you wouldn't want to have bad things. But like, you will go to a point where you can give your neighbor these things that you don't want, unwanted things. That's not love. Love is like what you like for you. And that's the same thing that we are talking about relationship and how to make this person loves you and then grow into that relationship and grow together in this love situation. If you are born again, it's easy to replicate the Bible and see the desires of God in our life, what he desires us, how to live. And he tells us, that's the good thing about the Bible. It's living, literally. It speaks about everything that you want to know, about everything. And if you follow that scripture, you will love your person in the way that is amazing.
And one of the, there's a lot of there I agree with. And one of the things I want to highlight as well is that there is when sin is present in the relationship, and then forgiveness is needed. Again, that person who knows all of your vulnerabilities, that person who knows all of your weaknesses, and you have done something to offend them. I don't know if you've ever known a couple who there has been an affair. It is brutal. I have had to, and I think God intentionally gives me dreams about specific things to teach me lessons. And I had a dream that my wife cheated on me.
That feels real.
And you wake up and it's there.
That feels so real.
This is kind of funny because literally I thought I had this dream that my wife cheated on me with Neil Diamond. Okay.
Oh
Dude,
my.
was like old and famous and in America. Like, there was no chance of this happening. He might not even be alive anymore. There was no chance of this happening. Yeah. But it was so impactful in the dream. I could not separate it even when I was awake. It took me literally like that day where it was just like, I was, is it like, and because even when I was talking with her that night, she was like, she said this like, well, if I was, I wouldn't tell you. And I was like, what? It is happening, you know? I'm telling you, man, it was so nuts. It was so nuts. And so to feel that level of betrayal.
Oh my.
And how quickly that love, it doesn't fade, but then it's like accompanied by this hatred and like this deep hurt and anger, and it's right there. And it's like, so when you hear about those couples who that is a reality.
Yeah.
And then the spouse says, I forgive you.
Ooh. That's deep.
Mother of frickin' pearl. If there is not a better example of what it is that God does with us consistently, I think that is it.
You've just reminded me something. Like, I also had such a dream, and I was so, like, I had attitude on my wife the next day.
Legit, dude. I told my wife
whole day, and it was a dream.
I don't even know if I can say it was just a day. Like, this is rather embarrassing. Like, I knew it was a dream, but it's like, but I also know it's real. It's real. Like, and I don't even know, man. Like, there can be spiritual attack on this side of stuff, like whatever.
Yeah.
But and then her saying that thing. I wouldn't tell you if I was. It was like,
what?
Mother of pearl. Like, yeah, man. Like, and it's like, and then you feel that, and then you hear, and you just have this tiny little momentary taste of that betrayal. And it's like, I remember how I could not even interact with my wife for that time, and it was so brutal. And now that is the actual persisting reality for this man or woman. And then to be able to mirror what God has done for you in your life, and to say to that person who has betrayed you in the most vulnerable time and the most vulnerable way and the most offensive way, I forgive you. Man, that to me is an example of Christ's love that I can't think of another match. Because you have given everything, you have life,
big.
you have kids, you have grandchildren, you have whatever with this person. And that forgiveness is there and offered. It's like, it chokes me up because it is such a deep level of carrying out our faith that is, it's so unthinkable to so many. And even Jesus said, this is essentially I hate divorce, but this is the exit door that I would see as valid. And you say, no, even through that I can endure.
That's big. That person really loves you.
And loves God.
Yeah.
And loves God. Man,
because it's the big. It's
I have such admiration for those people. And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Like in that situation, hearing about those situation, that action outshines the betrayal so much that it's like, I don't even really harbor anger towards that man or woman. It's because it is outshined by that grace and that forgiveness so much. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like that like mother of pearl like blows me away. It just blows me away. In only having that dream of a glimpse. And oh man. And then my wife telling me that. She wouldn't tell me anyway. But then she articulated later, she's like, well, of course, if I'm going to cheat on you, I'm obviously not of the right mind that would be honest and say, well, I'm doing this, you know? Like,
yeah,
which makes sense.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Oh, man. But we've kind of deviated a little bit off.
Yeah,
but
true.
Anyway, man.
No, but it is still part of it because, like, now, that's how deep love is. That's how really deep love is. And it's just not on the surface.
Yeah, and this plays into those guys, like those guys and those ladies who are like, well, where do I even find somebody, right?
Yes.
Because even you'll hear people say, you know, you have fun at the bar, but you look for your wife at the church. Mm-hmm. But does the wife want to be that person? Like, do I want to be a wife to the guy who's like, yeah, I go play here, but you're the one I come home to? No, I don't. So having those like real conversations early on matter, because then you're not getting attached. It's like, hey, this first date, I figured this out about you. That was a giant red flag, and I'm never gonna go on another date with you.
Sana?
What if we had kept the interactions to a stupid surface level, and now I didn't really know that about you until 10 dates in, but there's a lot I like about you, and then we end up getting married, and it's actually quite terrible. Let's find this stuff out early, have good conversations, real early, get past that initial stage that you're both on, like, oh, I admired the way he interacted with this. Oh, she's really pretty. Great. Step 2, get to know each other. Get to the real issues, get to the good stuff.
I know, and there are those who normally think like probably they'll change this person's character.
Oh.
You cannot.
You can pray for God to do that, but that's not a road that you're going to be able to beat and clear yourself. But anyway. So I hope you've liked a little bit of insights from a Kenyan, from an American on our journeys in loving our wives and getting to that point. And, you know, this is old info for some of you Gen Z guys or whatever the next generation is called on how to pursue a woman. But really, I think there's some fundamental core truths that aren't going to change. There might be other pressures that are in place, but really, if you just focus on the reality that, hey, we're both in a situation looking for, will this person work? Me expressing that person is pretty and being able to say that and then move on if they reject, it's a good skill.
Yeah.
It's a good skill because you're going to need to do that for your jobs. You're going to need to do that with lots of different things.
That's true. I think the more we continue having this conversation, I see how the American perspective and the Kenyan perspective is not very different from it's not different from the other.
I think that there are going to be a lot of different experiences. There are a lot of different cultural pressures and norms. But there are a ton of similarities in our experiences and the way that we view them.
Yeah.
That will really be able to say, you know what, this is not a unique African problem. This is not a unique American problem.
Yeah.
This is a human problem.
Yeah.
And this is something that Satan is wanting to sabotage our families or our entire lives on for his goals and his ends. And if we can stand more united and not say, oh well, those Africans, those Kenyans, those Nairobians, they're different. So I've got to be. No, it's like we are all very, very, very similar.
Yeah, true. In very many things.
And God loves us all very similarly, and Satan hates us all very similarly.
That's true.
And so
There's nothing good
we
from
can
Satan.
mount the same love and we can mount the same defense against these. So we hope that this conversation, we could have progressed into a lot of different areas and kept this podcast going for much longer than maybe you'd be comfortable listening.
Yeah.
But we've hoped you've enjoyed it. We'd love for you to interact where we've missed. This is a short conversation. As conversations about big topics go, you can talk about this stuff for a long period, right? So we had to cut this short. We've missed stuff. Let us know what we've missed. Let us know what you would like to hear about and how you would like to hear about it. Maybe you are quite offended that we had this whole conversation about loving another person without the perspective of a woman.
Yeah.
That could be something you could be offended about. Write it, be respectful, whatever. My perspective on that is that there's going to be conversations that are better had without the other gender. And there are going to be conversations or perspective presented by women that are going to be better had without us present.
Yeah, true.
Because it changes the conversation with the presence of an observer or presence of another, a person that is that distinctly different. So,
And sometimes just the viewers want to know, and for the viewers who are ladies, probably they will just want to know the perspective of a man.
Yeah.
And which is okay. Please subscribe on our channel and just send us some questions that you want us to talk about in regard to this topic when we do it, when we have other people on board.
For sure.
Yeah.
And also, you have the perspective of two married men who know their wives decently well. And so we can present some of that female perspective.
Yes.
And the female reaction in our journey that has been successful, right?
Yes.
We attained what there are many men who are wanting to attain, which is a family, a wife, that type of stuff. So we're able to present some of that, and we're able to expand on that by bringing in our wives or bringing in other ladies that can discuss these things. So appreciate you guys jumping in. Again, watch this with somebody. Talk with somebody about it. What do they think? How do you think? How can they challenge you? Where do you find biblical backing? Where do you find problems? Talk about it. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.
See you.
There's the military salute.